Batman and Robin, then?
Yes, so this is part of the kind of ongoing anniversary, re-releases. A theatrical outing for what is, I think, probably the most derided Batman movie of all time. I mean, even more so than the Adam West Wing. So look, Batman first, hit cinemas there's two serials from the 1940s, and then it's campily revived in the 60s with Adam West and Burt Ward, and then they get a big screen spin-off, and then you get this new era which begins at the end of the 80s with Tim Burton, who we were previously talking about. Tim Burton and Michael Keaton, who of course they worked together on Beetlejuice, and they make Batman. And then the first Batman, there is not with Robin, but just Batman, then Batman Returns. And then 93, there's the animated one, Mask of the Phantom? Anyway, that one. Then Val Kilmer takes over the role from Michael Keaton, and Joel Schumacher takes over the directorial reins for Batman Forever, which has got Chris O'Donnell as Robin, Dick Grayson. And the cast has got Jim Carrey's Riddler, Nicole Kidman's Chase Meridian, Tommy Lee Jones as Harvey Dent, Two-Face, and apparently Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey didn't get on at all well. I quite enjoyed Batman Forever. If you will remember, Jonathan Ross got himself on the poster by calling it one of the greatest movies ever made.
Really?
Yes, I think it was a joke, or I think it was kind of a let's see if I can get on the poster. But it famously that ended up on the DVD cover. So then Schumacher and Kilmer famously didn't get on with each other, and so Kilmer wasn't asked back for the next one. So for the next one, Batman and Robin, he's replaced by George Clooney, right? Gorgeous George Clooney. Yeah. Chris O'Donnell is back as Robin. Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl, Uma Thurman is Poison Ivy, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is Doctor, that's Mr. to you, Freeze.
Mr.
Here is
Freeze,
a clip.
Yes, I remember.
Here is a clip from Batman and Robin with Arnold's Victor Freeze.
Victor Freeze, help me save another life. Show me how to cure McGregor's syndrome stage 1. And maybe you can also save the life of the man your wife once loved. He's still inside you, Victor, buried deep beneath the snow. Will you help me, Doctor?
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
It's timeless, isn't it?
So I think I interviewed Arnie for that
Did
film.
you?
I think he was the guy who was put up for that.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. How was the interview?
Well-
Did he say anything that wasn't completely on message?
No, it was a notable example of, and I don't have a problem with this because this was Radio 1, so it was probably like an 8-minute interview or something like that. It didn't matter what I asked. He said what he wanted to say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit like some politicians do. I am going to get my message over. So I might have said, what was it like on set? Or what was the atmosphere like on set? Well, he would then launch into the thing about what Mr. Freeze does and how he interacts with all the other characters. Yeah. It completely ignoring the question, and that he was like a bulldozer, just dominating the interview. And that's fine because people don't want to hear from me; they want to hear from the star. But anyway, yes, that was
that wasn't the interview in which you were being given the countdown and you overdubbed. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
and yeah. That's that one, and then I got banned from interviewing.
That's right. Well, if you will remember, the reason this is particularly ironic is that this was Radio 1's Film of the Month, right? And I should say, I had no role in choosing it as Film of the Month. The Radio 1 management chose it as Film of the Month. And then
crazy. Really? They did?
They did, yeah. And then they told me that that's what the Radio 1... It was the only one of the first and for free Film of the Month that I didn't get a say in. It was this. Okay, so... Film opened to poor box office. I mean, the opening weekend was was fine, and then the drop-off was just huge. It ended up pretty much breaking even, which is not what they wanted to do. Terrible reviews. Joel Schumacher blamed the poor showing of the reviews on pre-release negativity. And it is true that it did internationally better than it did in the US, but as I said, I mean, we had it as movie of the month at Radio 1. I actually thought, I remember seeing it. I saw it with Fergus
Dudley.
Yes. Well done. And we went to see it at the previous screening, and I actually thought it was stupidly entertaining, and I laughed all the way through. Although it is objectively terrible. I mean, by that point, we were, it was our movie of the month, whether I liked it or not. So I was kind of relieved that I at least thought it was funny. It became famous for putting nipples on the bat suit and having lots of shots of rubber-clad bat butts, all of which I thought was quite funny. The screenplay was by Akiva Goldsman, but let's just remind ourselves of some of the great Mr. Freeze one-liners. Okay.
Yes.
So Arnie's whole thing was zingers, right? That's what if it's an Arnie movie, it's going to have zingers. It's going to have I'll be back or hasta la vista and all that kind of stuff, right? Here are some of the zingers delivered by Freezy Boy. Allow me to break the ice. I'm afraid my condition has left me cold to your pleas. You're not sending me to the cooler. always winterize your pipes.
Winterize your pipes?
Oh yeah, there's a bit. It's actually because there's a thing when it involves a pipe and it's a gag about winterizing your pipes. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
My goodness me!
And then the two which are the most brilliant. Everyone chill. And my favorite, because the kids would say it for months afterwards, cool party. It's just, somebody actually wrote this stuff down. So, nominated for 11 Razzies, which was more than Speed 2, including Worst Picture, which I think it lost to The Postman, or as John Norton called it, Post-Apocalyptic Pat. Also nominated for Worst Sequel, Worst Reckless Disregard for Human Life and Property. Alicia Silverstone won Worst Supporting Actress. In an interview some years afterwards, Joel Schumacher apologized for the film. He said, I want to apologize to every fan that was disappointed because I think I owe them that. A lot of it was my choice. No one is responsible for my mistakes but me. I also remember there's a famous story from around the time that Joel Schumacher was friends with Woody Allen because he was originally, I think he'd done costumes on Love and Death. And he got in touch with Woody Allen and said, I've made the worst film ever made. And Woody Allen said, no, you haven't. You've just made a bad film, which is kind of even worse. Akiva Goldsman also apologized. He said, we didn't mean for it to be bad. I swear nobody was like, oh, this will be bad. George Clooney in 2005 apologized for the film, calling it a waste of money and saying, I think we might have killed the franchise. He also apparently met Adam West and apologized to Adam West for how bad the film had been. They had a sequel planned. It got cancelled. Then there was this huge gap, and then there was Christopher Nolan and the beginning of everything. And it is worth ending this by saying that in 2009, Kevin Feige, said Batman and Robin may be the most important comic book film ever made because it was, quote, so bad that it demanded a new way of doing things. And he said that as a result of that, it created the opportunity for that then subsequent wave of comic strip movies that, that took the subject sort of rather more seriously. I mean, as I said, it is objectively terrible, but I enjoyed myself watching it because it was like the biggest drag party you had ever seen in your life. And it was just caution to the wind time. But it is funny that every single person involved in it creatively ended up apologizing.
And
Radio 1 Movie of the Month, first and for free. And as I said, no secret about this. That was not my choice. That was imposed upon us by management.